Hello there, thanks for joining me on the news. I'm Kejang Henry Atembe in Douala, Cameroon. We begin with our top stories for today's edition of the news. Former Secretary General of the Social Democratic Front, Professor Joseph Tajoache Asonganyi is no more. Professor Asonganyi died yesterday in Yaounde following an illness. We bring you a profile of the scientist, the politician, and the social critic in this newscast. And Muslim faithfuls in Cameroon at the threshold of Ramadan. Clerics call for harmonized prayer sessions while last-minute preparations continue across the country. Benjamin Netanyahu begins a historic visit to Africa. According to the Jewish state, the visit is described as a return to the African continent decades after the absence of the Jewish. That's where our headlines will bring you development in a split second. The death has been announced of former Social Democratic Front Secretary General Professor Joseph Tajoache Asonganyi. Professor Asonganyi died yesterday in Yaounde following an illness. In the following write-up, Ntaruke Divine Ramsey Jr. comes back to the man, Professor Asonganyi.
The death has been announced of Professor Joseph Tajoache Asonganyi, the eminent Varsity Don and one-time Secretary General of the opposition Social Democratic Front, reportedly gave up the ghost Sunday night at the Yaounde General Hospital. Details of the cause of death remain shady, but relatives say Professor Asonganyi had been ailing with an undisclosed condition lately. The holder of a PhD in biochemistry from the University of London spent the last 30 years lecturing at the Faculty of Medicine and Biomedical Sciences at the University of Yaounde 1. Between 1994 and 2005, he served as SG of the SDF, a post he left in 2006 following misunderstanding with the party leadership. The renowned political commentator published several newspaper articles on Cameroon's political evolution as well as dozens of books. He also served as elections observer for the Carter Center in Ghana as well as for the US-based National Democratic Institute in Nigeria.
Well, thanks very much, Ntaruke Divine. May his soul rest in peace. In fact, when the news of the death of Professor Tajoache Asonganyi was broken by family sources, I immediately caught up with somebody who actually knew him very well, and of course, one of his tribesmen. He is veteran journalist James Achanyi Fontem, who is the Chief Executive Officer of Cameroon Link. And in the telephone conversation, James Achanyi Fontem talked about Asonganyi. Yes, Mr. James Achanyi Fontem, good day.
Good day.
Now, you learnt of the death of Professor Joseph Tajoache Asonganyi. How did you welcome that news?
This is really sad news for the whole of Lebialem. You know, this is one of the elites who fought for the liberties that we are having today. We know him as the first Secretary General of the Social Democratic Front.
The second.
The party of Ni John Fundi.
The second Secretary General, you mean?
Yes, he resigned because of the confusion that the party was doing.
No, I'm saying that he is the second after Dr. Siga Asaga.
And that is true. But his role as Secretary General was very important because he held that position at a very difficult time. And, well, he is somebody who likes to speak the truth. Even in the village, when things are going wrong, they think he is going to line up. He tells them that, no, you should see what other countries are doing. You should not be just kicking against things without reason. The world is changing. And as a professor in the university, his students were very, very good students, and they loved him. And I will tell you that in Lebialem, where Professor Asonganyi went, everybody was excited to meet him. The last time I met him was when I was coming from Abuja, and he was coming from West Africa. We met in Calabar, at the Calabar airport. We were all coming back home from our mission. He had gone to represent the UN in a meeting in West Africa. You know, he monitored elections in Nigeria, the presidential elections in Nigeria, and he was considered to be a big voice because what he says and what is verified on the field is always 100% correct. He's a respectable person. So Lebialem has lost some person that we expected that if God gave him life and President Biya made him a minister, that is somebody who was going to bring a revolution and development at home. But incidentally, he was not that person who was fighting for positions. He likes to be just at the background. He knew he had made his life. He's married to one of the Njuzi's daughters. The Dio Njuzi in Mamfe was one of those respected persons too. Njuzi was Dio in Akwaya. You know what Akwaya is today. That is where he went and got his wife from that family. And they have lived so successfully. So this is really, really something that is sorrowful.
Thank you very much.
We don't know how we're going to stand it.
Thank you very much, Mr. James Asonganyi Fontem.
Yeah, thank you for calling me.
Well, that was James Asonganyi Fontem, who knew the man, Professor Joseph Tajoache Asonganyi. In fact, over to the North region, Muslim clerics in Garwa have called for a harmonized message during prayer sessions to mark the end of fasting and penitence. Some 114 imams met in Garwa to echo the message of peace, tolerance, and positive accommodation of religious creeds. Dee Morin report.
Optimism and the burning urge to face the future could be seen on the faces of imams, Muslim preachers and traditional leaders as they leave this mosque. 114 imams and traditional leaders are assessing messages delivered to Muslim faithfuls during the 1 month period of fasting for the Ramadan. The meeting at the Grand Mosque of the Lamido falls within the context of constant attacks from Boko Haram. The imams warn that messages disseminated to Muslim faithfuls must be harmonized. The objective of the Lamido Garwa, His Majesty Alim Ayatul, is that they should avoid practices that goes against the Quran. The imam were told the messages should focus on penance, peace, pacific cohabitation and respect of people's religion. Ceremony was an opportunity for the imams to project into the future.
Littoral Governor Samuel Dieudonné Ivaha Dubois has called on the elites and traditional leaders of the Nkam division to work towards the development of their division. Visiting the Nkam geographical space, Governor Dieudonné Ivaha said the bad state of the road is going to be the thing of the past soon. Once more, Dee Morin.
This is the ordeal of travelers from Douala to the Nkam division in the littoral region. The deplorable state of the roads has slowed down the development of the division, which to many is bewitched. Littoral Governor, while on a contact tour to locality, said the bad state of the road will soon be a thing of the past. Samuel Ivaha Dieudonné visited plantations, factories, private and para-public structures, and the newly constructed Agricultural Technical High School of Nkam. Once SD of Nkam Division, Samuel Dieudonné Ivaha masters the environment and the problems of the people. Today he is overwhelmed with the transformation of the locality.
Nous avons noté que ce département qui
is a division that many people say is cursed and bewitched. Today it is renowned for the production of palm oil. Other vast banana, cocoa plantations are coming up. I would say it is a new era for this division. The youth of the division offered a Bible to the governor to the satisfaction of many. Camille is a businessman and a native of Nkam. His wish is to see the few companies grow to another level and serve as employment to many youths. Littoral governor equally visited first-class chiefs of Yabasi. During the exchange, he called on the traditional leaders to watch closely on widows.
And in sports news, the National Elite League Championship entered the 24th playing day across the country yesterday, with the status quo maintained at the top of the league table. In Tajoache Divine, Ramsey Jr. comes back to the 24 action.
Match day 24, staged Sunday in the unfolding Division 1 Championship, failed to generate any major shakeups at the upper echelons of the classification table. The status quo from the previous playing day was maintained as UMS of Loom maintained its grip on the championship steering wheel with 44 points after settling on a 1-1 draw against Union Douala. Elsewhere, second-placed Young Sports Academy of Bamenda preserved their second-place ranking after a 0-0 tie with Cotton Sport Garwa. In other results, last-place Cosmos lost 0-1 to Ast. Dragon punched Botafogo 1-0. New Stars slapped Bamboo Toss 2-0. Apejes lost 0-1 to Unisport. Racing urged Edding Sports 1-0. Cannon bought 2-3 to Leon Blessé, while Panther punished Egle 1-0 in the regional derby.
Well, thanks very much, Tajoache Divine. We move over to Israel, where Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu starts what he describes as a historic visit to Africa. He will meet heads of state from Uganda, Kenya, Rwanda, Ethiopia, Zambia, South Sudan, including Tanzanian Foreign Minister. For decades, no Israeli Prime Minister has visited Africa, and Israel is describing the visit as a return to the African continent. Mr. Netanyahu is expected to visit scene of the 1976 Entebbe hostage rescue in Uganda, where his elder brother Jonathan, who led the raid, was killed. In fact, more than 100 hostages who were held for a week were freed by Israeli commandos. Well, that brings us to the end of this newscast. News will continue as well as programs. From all of us, it's goodbye from me.